told your friend you're not okay.
Pop News Special Report. Get ready, because what you're about to read may be one of the most mysterious stories unfolding behind the scenes of the K-pop industry. For the past few weeks, public conversation has been relentlessly centered around one figure whose name never fails to spark global enthusiasm and curiosity: Kim Taehyung. While seemingly calm on the surface, the situation behind the scenes reveals a major move under wraps, shrouded in a strategy of silence that has left the public wondering, what exactly is HYB preparing for the artist? While many idols are releasing information openly, Taehyung has chosen silence. A silence that isn't empty, but rather full of hidden meaning. A silence that feels like a layer of fog obscuring a much larger picture. Even his silence feels like part of a carefully crafted plan, as if each seemingly simple step has a specific function in a giant puzzle. And precisely because of this, the world is beginning to see something different. A massive project whose footprints are obscured, but whose impact is beginning to shake the very ground on which the K-pop industry stands. Rumors began to swirl from all directions, some sounding plausible, others too fantastical to believe, but they all had one common thread. Taehyung was involved in something far bigger than a solo comeback. Normally vocal inside sources were becoming extremely secretive, while the media was relentless in their attempts to glean the sporadic bits of information. Even typically skeptical entertainment analysts were beginning to acknowledge that whatever HYBE was hiding, its scale and impact seemed to go far beyond a typical music project. What made the situation even more intriguing was Taehyung's increasingly unpredictable behavior. Sometimes he would suddenly appear with a much calmer and more mature aura than before, while other times, he would disappear completely without any meaningful explanation. Observant fans began to notice every little detail: the shift in his visual style, the way he chose his words when talking about the future, and even how HYB suddenly shifted focus when questions arose about his solo activities. It all felt like a series of signals pointing to a larger plan still hidden behind the walls of corporate strategy. One of the most speculative aspects of HYBE's internal meetings is how they're conducting closed-door meetings that aren't even recorded in their public systems. Some staff members who are usually active in keeping the news are now avoiding any discussion of Taehyung's project, as if they're dealing with highly sensitive material. There are rumors of studios surrounded by extra security, rumors of international collaborators being asked to sign high-level confidentiality agreements, and whispers that the project involves new technology never before used in Korean music production. The deeper one digs, the clearer it becomes that this isn't just a project, but a high-level creative operation. Industry analysts are beginning to predict that this could be a revolutionary move. Some suspect that HYBE intends to use this project to push new standards, creating a multimedia experience that combines music, visuals, narrative, and interactive technology. Others believe they're building a global stage that will place Taehyung on a level never before achieved by a K-pop solo artist. Still others believe that HYBE is deliberately creating this air of mystery in anticipation of a launch that will shake things up globally. Yet, amidst all the intense speculation, Taehyung continued to walk with his trademark calm. His unfazed demeanor only strengthened the belief that he knew exactly what was going on. There was a subtle charisma in his appearances and disappearances, a firmness in his eyes that made the public wonder if he was actually undergoing a transformational phase in his career. Each appearance felt like part of a new chapter, yet untitled, but already beginning to capture the world's attention. And most interestingly, the more HYBE tried to hide something, the more the world paid attention. Fans began to compile theories, chart patterns, and match subtle clues. Some analyzed his body language, others scrutinized his choice of words in interviews, while others interpreted his social media posts like secret codes. No piece of information was too small to ignore. Every detail could be a piece of this larger mystery. As the mystery of the hidden agenda became more widely discussed, the atmosphere within HYBE was described as growing increasingly intense, as if entire departments were moving to the same rhythm, a rhythm understood only by a select few. Staff members, usually busy with their daily routines, were now engaged in a much more secretive work pattern. Meeting room doors were locked, digital documents were protected by 2 layers of encryption, and hushed conversations in the hallways gave the impression of a large-scale operation underway at a level that even senior employees were unaware of. This shift in atmosphere was felt not only internally within the company, but also among the external creative partners with whom they had been collaborating. Several international producers began to speak of receiving mysterious invitations with no clear details, only a brief note emphasizing the urgency and utmost secrecy. There were stories of late-night recording sessions that weren't even officially recorded, studios lined with sound sensors that isolated all activity, and the presence of technical teams carrying experimental equipment never before seen in Korean music production. All of this led observers to believe that the project was not only secretive but also highly ambitious. Meanwhile, amidst the growing frenzy of speculation, the figure at the center of this entire mystery seems increasingly elusive. There are moments when he appears with an expression that suggests deep thought, as if harboring a grand story yet to be shared with the world. But there are also moments when he appears completely calm, almost as if someone already knows how this great storm will end. And in that stillness, there's a power that makes it even more difficult for the world to take their eyes off him. But what's most intriguing is how his every move, no matter how small, becomes the subject of lengthy discussions. When he opts for a more minimalist visual style, fans speculate that he's preparing a specific concept. When he's suddenly seen entering a company building with a different entourage than usual, fans immediately speculate about potential collaborations they'd never imagined. Even when he posts a simple photo without context, the public immediately tries to interpret the color of the lighting, the composition, and his facial expressions like a secret code. Everything becomes a puzzle interconnected. Meanwhile, the international entertainment industry is also beginning to experience an unusual surge of interest. Foreign media outlets have begun sending journalists to South Korea to monitor the development of this mysterious project. Several global music labels have reportedly contacted HYBE managers to find out if the rumors of a cross-continental collaboration are true. The world of visual arts, film production companies, and even interactive technology companies has been swept up in a whirlwind of speculation. No one knows for sure what's being prepared, but everyone senses that whatever it is will have a profound impact. And most surprising of all, small signs of this project have begun to emerge in indirect ways. There are reports that a dedicated room in the HYBE building is now filled with holographic screens displaying experimental visual prototypes. There are also rumors that mysterious pieces of music were heard during studio speaker test sessions. Music with a distinct timbre, seemingly blending classical, modern, and electronic elements never before used. Engineers are calling it an atmosphere test, a vague term that adds to the sense that this project is more than just an album, but a multisensory experience. The deeper the world delves into this mystery, the stronger the conviction that HYBE is preparing something that will dramatically change the direction of the artist's career. What was once considered merely a rumor is now starting to look like the first steps of a global launch. There are hints of a grand concept, hints that the project has its own narrative, and signs that the production process involves interdisciplinary elements never before integrated in the K-pop industry. And the public is no longer simply waiting. They are observing, interpreting, and piecing together theories from every emerging fragment. The music world is on edge, fans are shivering with anticipation, and entertainment analysts are aware that they may be witnessing the birth of a monumental work. This project is slowly becoming more than just a HYBE secret but a global phenomenon, with millions awaiting the moment when the whole puzzle will finally be revealed.